Hi everyone, I'm here with another design team project for Birch Press Design, and today's project we are going to focus on the Petal egg layering die set. So these are the 3 layers. Very simplistic design in the layers. You gotta love these ovals. These would be great for die cutting inlay technique. But I'm going to do something a little bit different just to jazz these eggs up. So I'm going to gather up all my supplies. I'm going to take care of my die cutting first, and we will be right back. Okay, so I've taken care of trimming everything, and this is the cardstock that I'm going to be using. It's by Memory Box, and this is great. You actually get 12 colors. But they're shades, so you get 3 shades of each of these colors. And they have about, I'm going to say 9 sets of these. And this is 110-pound cardstock. Now know that the inside of the cardstock, like if you tear it, it's white. So if I take this piece, you can see how that's white inside. So it's great for techniques if you want to sand the paper or tear like that, you'll get that white edge. These are the 3 colors that I'm going to be using. So I actually chose, when I line these up, I chose these 3 colors here. So this is from the Berry Red collection, this is from the Sunny Orange, and this is from the Lush Green. All right, they are 6 by 6. And here are the layers that I've cut. So we need to glue these together. And we'll do that as quick as possible. I just like to go around the outer edge. This is where I find, when it's working, the fine tip for my art glitter glue to really work. Now, what you want to make sure with what we're doing today, you see these little tiny holes that are throughout the egg. You want to make sure that there's no glue covering those up, and of course lining up your egg to make sure that those holes are lined up as well. They are kind of going to be, believe it or not, the focal point of our embellishment for our egg. So again, I'm just going to go around the outside, putting little tiny dots, and then I'm just going to put dots every so often on the main part. And then we'll get this down in place. So layering our pieces is very simple, quick to do, and is done in no time. All right, and that is our egg. I just love those colors. I think those colors are absolutely gorgeous. So then I have a piece of cardstock here. Now this is cut, excuse me, 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So I am just going to set this right in the center, and I'm going to glue that in place as well. So again, just making sure I'm going along the outside and then coming in. Now, if you hear something meowing, that would be my cat, because, you know, he feels it's time to eat, and it's really not. So I'm going to line this up on my board just so I can find the center. And that's going to be right there. And again, I'm just eyeballing it. Again, it's probably not perfect, but again, we're not Hallmark, right? So have fun. Just set that down. Just going to put a little bit of pressure. I'm going to set this aside. This is going to be my mat. And I want to pull in, this is my, it's DMC floss. And DMC floss is 6 strands. And this is B5200, basically white. And then I'm going to grab my foam mat here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to puncture holes where those holes are in the die, the smaller ones. And I'm just going to go through the entire piece and make sure all of them are punctured through. Again, I'm not worried about it being in the center. I just need to make sure that everyone was hit, and it was. All right, so I'm going to use all 6 strands. I'm not going to separate it, and I'm going to thread my needle. And I apologize, I've got ink all over my hands. There was something I was working on earlier, and yeah, something exploded. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come from the back, and I'm going to pull this up, and I'm just going to leave a small tail, and I'm just going to grab a piece of Scotch tape. Now, you know, you can grab whatever's around. Could be washi tape, Scotch tape, whatever you're looking for, but you want to make sure that you secure that tail. I don't like to put knots on the back because then it would, you know, create this other element. What we're going to create is a French knot. Now I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. So a French knot, what I like to do, and there's many ways to do this. So you take your string and you create this loop that's coming around. And of course you can't see that because I zoomed in. So let me make that shorter. Matter of fact, I'm going to move. Now I want to keep that there. So you create this loop. So see how it circles around, and then here's my needle. So that's what it would look like continuing through. All right, let's zoom out just a little bit. No, wrong way. So you create that loop. So you want this side to go to your left and then this one to come to your right. So if you would put your needle there, you've got this circle. Now it could be the other way if you're left-handed. I take my needle and then I take my thread and I'm going to wrap it around 3 times. I'm going to hold on to that thread and I'm going to go back down the same hole. I'm going to lift up my cardstock, and it kind of locks all of that in there when I do that because the eye of the needle pushes down. I'm going to keep my thumb on that thread and I'm going to pull my needle through. And what's going to happen is that loop that we created is now going to come up and around and lock that in. And that is a French knot. Let's do another one. Again, I'm going to come in from the back. I'm going to pull up. I'm going to take this to my left. Again, if you're left-handed, you'll probably take it to your right. And I'm going to create this loop. I'm going to wrap what's in my left hand 3 times. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go back down to the hole, push down into my foam, lift up, it locks it. I'm going to hold that thread on the left and then I'm going to pull down. And now I have another one. So I'm going to keep going, doing my French knots throughout my piece. Now you can use any thread that you would like. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go back down again. It could be a metallic thread, you know, anything that you have. You don't have to get anything special. I do like the DMC. Now what's equivalent to DMC, 6-strand floss, is the Anchor 6-strand. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I have to count that. Again, I'm going to go back down. I'm going to pull up. But you want something that's a little bit, that's, you know, got some width to it. If it's too thin, if it's regular thread, you're just going to go straight through that hole. It's not, you want that French knot to, when created, to be bigger so that it doesn't pull through your piece. I'm going to hold that down. I hope I'm in view here. There's that next one. I'm going to go through. 1, 2, 3. Am I in camera? I am. I'm going to go down. I'm going to come up. And I'm going to pull. And that's what that looks like so far. All right, so I'm just going to continue. Now, I'll keep this going. So yeah, this video is going to be long. I want you to be able to see it. And plus, you guys know me that have been here before. You know I love to gab. So this is just another way that you can spruce up your dies, either using threads, doing some stitching, just adding those accents to it. Once you get the hang of this, French knots used to always scare me. Because I just could not figure out that whole wrapping around and mechanism for it. I used to crack my sister up all the time. She's a big cross stitcher, and I am too. You know, I like cross stitching. I can't tell you the last time that I've been, you know, able to sit down and do that, but it was just something that I could not. And then all of a sudden, somebody showed me the loop and the left and the right and what you're hanging on to and what you're pulling on and creating the loop. And it's a process. I mean, you know, when she creates her French knot, you know, she doesn't have to go through this. I take my time with it. I make sure that the thread's going to lock into each other. But they add something just unique on your projects, that texture. And it's a fun way to create a knot, because that essentially is what you are creating. It is a knot. I'm going to go back down. I find it's also easier with the foam because as you lift up your cardstock, it pulls that needle down and it helps you to lock that in so you don't lose the tension, you know, of it. If you keep it loose, you would just have a bunch of loops, which is really pretty as well. I mean, it doesn't have to be directly tight up onto the card like I'm doing here. You could have all of these beautiful loops coming from it, and it will lock itself. So you have all kinds of different choices to make, which I think is great, because who doesn't like choices? And see, like I'm being daring there. I'm not holding on to that thread. Uh-oh, there we go. Now, and you can choose, I just wanted to choose white to keep everything soft. Pastel-y, that's a word. You know, again, try all kinds of different things, you know, as at least I think every craft I've tried, and there's many people that are like that. So we have so many things that are available that are in our stash, you know, that we can use. So you can see, like, that wasn't so tight, but I've got little tiny loops, but that's okay. You know, each one is different. I dare say each one is unique, which is great. And of course, I'm probably going to need more thread. Oop, there we go. And that one's a little bit bigger than all of them. Again, that is okay, because I'm kind of getting there. And, you know, once you start doing these, you get really comfortable and you start getting into a rhythm, and maybe you don't, you know, hold down that left thread to, you know, keep it close to the card, so you get then all of these different looks to your knots, which again I think just adds to the homemade effect of a card. And of course I am going to need, because you always need a long thread, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another piece of Scotch tape, and I'm just going to put that there. I'm going to trim that, and I'm just going to grab another strand and rethread. And we're going to do the same thing, because again, I don't like to leave a knot, even though I'm putting knots on the front. I don't like to have knots going on in the back, because I'm not sure if I'm gonna, you know, add foam tape or anything else like that. So again, we're going to create our loop, wrap around 3 times, go back down, create that tension, and pull. Pull through. They're really cute. Like when you get them really close, they look like little tiny rose clusters. Or they can, at least I see it. You're all probably like, you're crazy. What are you saying? But you can see this really, it doesn't take long. You can have a really pretty card in no time. And there you go. So now we're just going to grab another piece of tape, which will be our last. And I'm just going to go across. I'll even cross over some of the other threads just to lock some of those in. And I'm just going to grab one more piece as well, just to lock that in, because just in case anything should break, I am covered. Okay, so I will be right back, and not so zoomed in. All right, so let's get our sentiment ready. I am using a sentiment from Memory Box Open Studio, and it's just these awesome big chunky blocks, and I'm going to use the one that says happy. So I'm going to use my obsidian ink from Altenew, and I'm just going to make sure that I've got good coverage on this. I think it's going to be great because that black is just going to pop right off, and I've got that beautiful white coming through. So we'll stamp this a couple times, make sure I push down, and I like that. I do like the little tiny white spots that are in there. Again, I just think that adds to the effect. And I'm going to grab a baby wipe. Yes, I still do like the whole baby wipe process to clean my stamps. I just have issues with the fiber cloths, but that's me. So me. I always have issues. And then I'm going to fussy cut this. Just going to come in around it. And these are too small. I need my chunky scissors. And I'm just going to have a slight border that goes around. And then when I come along the edge, I can do that in one swipe because the scissors are so large. I'm going to come in on this side again. I'm turning my paper. I'm not turning my scissors. That helps to get a smooth cut. And then when I come up to the side, and now I just have this last corner to just smooth out. There we go. And I think that is going to look great right there. But let's put our layers on first. So I do want this propped up. So I already do have a piece of fun foam covered with my 2mm tape. I get this from Uline. It is not forgiving in any way, shape, or form, meaning the moment it touches paper, it is down. Cannot remove it. And then I'm going to remove this next layer here, and I'm going to put this on my mat, and hopefully that will be centered. So we've just propped that up just a little bit. And you know what? I think I'm actually going to cut right along that black edge. No border. Because, there we go. Because now I can put that right there. Don't have to cover up my egg at all. And I think it's cute that it just says happy. I'm going to grab my glue. And you can make it thinner if you want, you know. Make it not so chunky. So we have it a little thinner. Bring it down in size. There we go. That even looks a little bit better. And of course this, this clogs up for me because I keep forgetting to put the pin back in. You know, I just want to keep on going there. So there we go. See? And we'll put that right down there. So we've got a little bit of a border on that. All right, push that out. I've got my card base here. This is standard A2 size card base. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and this will be a top folding card. And I will set that down. It will cover the entire front of my panel. And there we have it. Now you could add some sequins, you could add some jewels to this, but I don't want to take away from those beautiful French knots there. So I hope I gave you some ideas. I hope you enjoyed this little tiny trick that I showed you when it comes to using some threads that we may have in our stash. But as always, this is the Petal Egg layer set by Birch Press Design. And again, I do hope you enjoyed this. As always, all the products that I used will be listed down below in the video description. And if you have any questions, please leave those down below and I'll make sure I get back to you as soon as I can. I do try to do that. Continue to enjoy your day. Continue to smile. Continue to laugh. It does help. Laughing like relieves, you know, stress sometimes. You know, I laugh at myself all the time, so I shouldn't have any stress, but I do. But that's okay. Take time in your space. Be creative. Create your art. Remember, it's unique and it's yours. So always continue to be creative, guys. Till next time, and take care.